So the big tax question is this: how do wealthy people keep their money working for them when selling their business, real estate, or other highly appreciated assets without paying hundreds of thousands to millions of dollars in tax? What if we, as business and real estate owners who have poured blood, sweat, and tears to growing our wealth, and who didn't hire expensive tax attorneys and CPAs to map out an exit strategy, knew their secrets? Instead of recreating the wheel, why can't we just model the way they deferred 30 to 50% in tax, paid off debt, funded their next business dream, and most importantly, leave a financial legacy to give to the causes we believe in most? What if their secrets weren't complicated at all, and you just need a guide who is a few steps ahead of you? That is the question, and this podcast will give you the answers. My name is Brett Swarts, and welcome to Capital Gains Tax Solutions. Welcome to the Build to Billions podcast, where we guide successful entrepreneurs and investors on their journey from millions to billions. We believe the key to scaling and compounding your wealth and life starts every single day with a mindset and practice of stewardship over ownership and applying billionaire biblical principles. Our ultimate goal is to help you scale and compound your wealth and life so you can give more all the way to help MVPs. My name is Brett Swarts. Each and every episode, we are joined by the world's top entrepreneurs, millionaires, or billionaires, and they share their secrets and insights with us so we can all level up, make a bigger impact. Excited about our next guest. He's going to teach us about the Decamillionaire way. And he helps the folks that he serves to run and build the business like an asset, to de-risk the business, to de-stress your life, to design your freedom. He's been featured in Forbes, Fox News, Investopedia, NerdWallet, Clippingers, Wall Street Journal, USA Today, Yahoo Finance. And we're going to be talking about how to unlock wealth and how to become and build something, a life and a business that you can really unlock all these major areas of your life. This gentleman is a coach, and he's going to teach us today. Please welcome to with me, Mr. Justin Goodbread. Justin, how are we doing?
I'm good, buddy. How are you, Brett?
Doing great. For our listeners getting to know you for the first time, would you give us a little bit more about your story and your current focus?
Absolutely. So I talk a little slower than you do because I'm a country boy, born and raised in the sticks of South Georgia. Was homeschooled most of my life, graduated, went off to college and said enough's enough. I started and sold 7 companies for 7, 8, and 9-figure valuations. After my last exit, I'm like, you know what? It's time to teach business owners how to become decamillionaires. Let's highlight the need for that particular goal and that aspiration. Let's show them a proven framework. And since we launched that coaching business, Brett, I've helped a few hundred business owners rapidly scale to decamillionaire status. It's been a lot of fun.
This is incredible. I can't wait. Let's dive right in. And by the way, people want to learn more about Mr. Justin Goodbread. You go to justingoodbread.com. That's justingoodbread.com. So Justin, what is the number one secret or the first step or the first mindset, whatever it might be, to getting started to become a decamillionaire?
Yeah, so we teach a 5-step framework. We call it the Decamillionaire Way. It's in our newest book that'll be coming out this year. And the very first thing is a relentless foundation. Relentless foundation. I use that word relentless because most of us as business owners, we're willing to charge hell with the water pistols, I like to say. You know, we're tenacious. We know where we want to go. We are willing to grab the bull by the horns, right? But oftentimes we don't lay the foundation for growth properly. It's pretty amazing. And for me, a simple country boy, I'll say the statement that 1 + 1 + 1 = 1 million, right? One client, one process, one offering. You can scale a business to $1 million pretty rapidly, just doing 1 + 1 + 1 + 1. But whenever we set our eyes as business owners, especially in the early days as we buy a business or we start a business, we end up serving anybody and everybody who'll fog a mirror. And we throw so many different offerings at them that we cannot scale. And that we reach a certain point. Maybe it's there's an old strategy called 1-3-1-3-1-3-1. So you get to $10,000, you get $30,000, you get to $1 million of revenue, you get to $3 million of revenue, you get to $10 million of revenue. And each one of these 1-3-1-3-1-3-1 numbers end up actually costing us it causes some problems for us so that we hit a glass ceiling. So whenever business owners say, I want to rapidly scale and I will get past this glass ceiling, we have to move them away from the things which are keeping them stuck. So the Relentless Foundation is all about helping the business owner unpack where do they truly want to be. And Brett, where we spend most of our time is getting clarity on their vision. Why are they going there? What does it matter? What's the impact? What's the purpose? The way I'd like to say it in our company, in our group is, what is the one thing that Daniel and Brett are willing to do for the rest of your lives if no one pays you? If you can identify that, Now you're willing to charge hell with a water pistol, and you're going to do what it takes to get to a decamillionaire.
And we are joined, by the way, with the Daniel Barnes, everybody. He is a co-host of the Build to Billions podcast, filling in at times. And we're actually doing a dual recording today. We're both co-hosting to Justin, because Justin is that wise and smart that we're going to bring two at the same time. So it sounds like the first foundation is the Relentless Foundation. That's number one. And really getting that down to the to a system, to a process, to one client, right? To be able to scale. Is that a fair summary on the first one, Justin?
Absolutely. You got laser focus, friends. Laser focus on the one thing that you're good at, the one thing you can rock somebody's world with.
Daniel Barnes, when you're thinking about the one thing, I know you're building your business right now, and you're in the process of scaling it. What would you say is maybe the one process or system you've implemented that's helped you to get some momentum?
I think the one thing for me has been increasing the volume of the things that are working and doing small tweaks. So literally today I was putting out some different reels on my Instagram, and instead of just changing them completely, I would literally just change the verbiage of calling out the specific city, because there's like 6 different cities that I serve right in this area, and I would just go Arden Park, Roseville, West Roseville, Folsom, and just change that one word but use the same exact content. And because of that, it then targets that specific area, that specific city that I want to serve. So
the specificity, I think that's what Justin's referring to, right? Getting really narrowed on the client. Justin, what would you add to that and the location?
I would pull it back a little bit, because we're now in the tactical too quick. Okay, and this is what happens in entrepreneurs. It's common across the board. As an entrepreneur who's scaling a business to $10 million in valuations or more, we're going to deal with the tactical. We're going to get that in phase 3, relentless execution. Okay, but in Relentless Foundation, it's all about the why. It's the touchy-feely stuff that that many of us as entrepreneurs don't want to talk about. It is the way I often say it is, what's that one person? What's that one thing that you know that if you had 1,000 or 100 different people on the opposite side of the table from you, if they listen to you, you can rock their world? What is that one particular, not a tactic, but what's that burning desire that if I could just do this? I'll tell you this story, guys. My wife during COVID almost died. Thank God she's here. In fact, we had the conversation with our attorneys and our children that Mom ain't coming home from the hospital. She's not coming home. And thank God she's here. She's healthy today. God is a miracle from God Almighty during that time period. But whenever we walked out of the hospital and my wife asked me a question, Justin, what's another $1 million going to do for our family? It wasn't about the tactical at that point. It was about why are we doing what we're doing? See, I'd already started and scaled 7 businesses at that point. We had money in the bank. We had youth at our time. We're in our mid-40s at this point. My business coach asked me a question that brings this foundation to bear. He asked me this question. I've never forgotten it. Daniel, if you had unlimited time and unlimited resources, notice I didn't say money, and we don't have unlimited time. None of us do. But if you had unlimited time and unlimited resources, what would you do tomorrow that you're not doing today? Now, don't answer that, because that's a hard question to answer. Whenever you get to Relentless Foundation, it's all about, as Simon Sinek would say, the why. Not the why of the business, but the why of Justin. You see, here's what happens. Most of us as business owners, we want to go to the tactical real quick, as you just illustrated. It happens all over the place. But the tactical only gets us so far. The tactical's not going to push you through the hard times ahead of you. The tactical's not going to push you through the earnout. The tactical's not going to push you through decentralizing yourself as the business owner from the epicenter of the business to allow that business to rapidly grow. That's the why behind everything. We'll deal with the tactical and relentless execution phase 3, but in the Relentless Foundation, it's where we sit back and you say, why is it that I am this? Why is it that I put this label on me? I'm more than just the business owner. I'm more than just the financial advisor or the dentist or the doctor. What is it I truly do? I'll illustrate in a common vernacular. I have a painter right now happening at my house. They're doing some construction. And I asked the painter, I said, man, why are you a painter? He goes, dude, I just watch paint dry. I said, no, you don't. No, you don't, man. You're causing my dream of this house, this garage with the black roof and the black walls. You're having what's in my head come to fruition. You're not watching paint dry, dude. You're bringing my dreams to life. That's his why. He's like, dude, I help people bring their dreams to life, right? Now that's going to help him get through those hard times ahead. So foundation is not the tactical. Foundation is that stuff that's just warm and fuzzy on the inside of us that honestly, most of us business owners don't want to talk about. And it's what causes us to hit those plateaus in our journey. Whenever our abilities reach a limit, it causes us to plateau.
Absolutely love that. And this is so great. Let's keep moving for time's sake. Number 2, what is the number 2 step to the decamillionaire way?
Relentless examination. Where are you at in your life and in your business? A business can be analyzed. There's 286 metrics which cause the valuation of the business. Think about the Parthenon, right? You have all these pillars that hold up the valuation. There's 286 of them in any business, especially in the service business. There's a few less in the manufacturing, and a few less in the retail. But in the service industry, which is where most of our business owners lie, there's 286 metrics that say, here is what causes the value to stand. Where are you strong at and where are you weak at? Those 286 are around 8 key areas of business: planning, leadership, sales, marketing, people, operations, finance, and legal. Whenever you go to sell your company, when you go get financing on your company, the banker, the investment banker, the M&A advisor, whoever it is going to be dissecting, almost like an MRI machine, they're going to be dissecting your business. Your job as a business owner is to discover what is weak inside your business and begin strengthening that. So that's the relentless examination phase.
What helps you to get that done, or what is the process that you work people through for that, Justin?
Yeah, we have our own system internally. We use as lead magnet for people that are welcome to go in and fill out an assessment. It's 286 questions. It takes about an hour and a half, and it will dissect your business and grade it on a scale of 1 to 100. We'll be more than happy to share that link with your team. It's all generated by AI. It'll dissect your business and say, hey, your leadership is weak or your operations are weak. I can tell you, though, without even having to go spend the hour and a half, in most business owners, here's your popular 3. Number 1. Owner is at the center of the business. Everything runs through the owner. The old adage, we work on our business versus in our business. We hear it, we don't know how to deal with it. If we identify what we're touching and what we shouldn't be touching every day, it helps us move forward. Number 2, we're not marketing enough. As business owners, we don't market. We throw money away, but we don't market to our one avatar with that one problem, that one solution. Number 2. Number 3, our operational structure is not positioned for us to leave. We run by the seat of our pants. We fly with what's in our head. We're not running with critical success factors, KPIs, KRIs, or PIs, which are different measurements that every business can operate on. We're not operating that way. So those are your top 3. Out of the thousands of assessments I've seen, 1, 2, and 3, there you go.
Okay, excellent. Daniel, what so far from what Justin has said, what question do you want to ask Justin before we go into number 3 here for the Decamillionaire Way?
Yeah, I think if you could repeat that question that you had talked about, the warm fuzzy, if you had an unlimited amount of time, and then there was a second thing, but I didn't quite catch that, so I imagine the listeners won't have caught it either.
Absolutely, and this question I've been asked, and I've asked it 100 times now since then. My coach asked me, he said, Justin, if you had unlimited time and unlimited resources, not money. Resources could be talent. Resources could be influence. Resource could be a network. Resources could be money. It could be time. It could be a number of things. If you had unlimited time and unlimited resources, what would you do tomorrow that you're not doing today? Whenever someone asks me to coach their business, the very first question I'm going to ask them is, if I step into your company as a CEO, as a COO, as a CFO, whatever the C-suite position is, what's the first thing I'm going to do? I've yet to have a business owner not answer that question. Because they're going to say, well, I probably should fire so-and-so, or well, I probably should market this, or well, I should probably cut this division off. Then why aren't you doing it? Right? So when you put that framework around that warm and fuzzy, Daniel, it actually adds velocity to the things that we're doing in our company that we should be doing today that we're not, that we're procrastinating on.
I see. And then the one other thing is when you talked about the owners removing themselves, if someone's going, like even in my own business, I am the solo operator, what's that first hire? What's that first step for someone who's going, I know I can't do everything. How do you help someone in that position?
So I think best in visual. So I'm going to give you a quick visual here. And I know we're sake of time, but I'll give you a quick visual. Think of a merry-go-round, the little wheel of death that we would get on as kids, and we would hold on to it and have those little handlebars. In a merry-go-round, the business owner is often sitting at the center, and you have 8 areas of business: planning, leadership, sales, marketing, people, operations, and finance and legal. Oftentimes, the business owner is good at marketing or sales, one of those 2 positions, okay? Maybe they're operational, but probably marketing and sales. You as a business owner, you're sitting on one area of that business very heavily, and the wheel is not spinning properly. The merry-go-round is wobbling, okay? In order for us to get velocity, to get out of the center of the business, for us to replace ourselves and create an exit so we can have the golden goose, we're going to hire the person directly opposite us. So for most business owners, we're the visionaries. We're the, excuse me. For most business owners, we're the visionaries. We're oftentimes need to hire the operator or the implementer, as using the old traction book from EOS, right? You can go to the DISC model or the Myers-Briggs model. They're all set up properly to where you can pick your direct opposite. I'll tell you who that is. For those of us who have a significant other or spouse, you're going to hire somebody like your spouse, because opposites attract. That's the person you're going to need in your company.
Amazing. Mr. Justin Goodbread, everybody, if you want to learn more about him, go to justingoodbread.com. That's justingoodbread.com. Yep, it is the best bread out there, just in case you're wondering. Let's go to number 3 step to becoming and achieving the Decamillionaire way.
Yeah, the next one is relentless execution. Execution is where we as business owners fail. We're great at ideas, we're great at shiny objects, but we don't execute. So what we teach is all those 8 areas of those 264 different metrics that can drive a business. How do we take those and bring them down to 3, and only 3 specific actions that we're going to take over the next 90 days? You've heard it called 90-day sprints. But what happens with us as business owners is we want to sprint on 75 different things at once. We want to work for a week on something, and then a shiny object comes off, a squirrel, and then we go to something else. The idea behind relentless execution is knowing exactly what is going to drive the greatest value, not income, but value in your company over the next 90 days. So for some, it may be all we need to work on is building a marketing plan. I've had companies where we just build a marketing plan and it adds $1.5 million of value to the company. We may just be, hey, we're going to work on a forward-facing pro forma. That's all we're going to do for 90 days. It may be that we need to redo it. We need to put job descriptions in place as one of our action steps. What we want to do, because we are like chaos, us business owners, we love chaos. Let's be honest. We want to do 1,000 different things at once, and we got to nail it down to 3 key things, the 3 most important things custom for your business that's going to drive your business to the next level. And if you do that, you run it for 90 days. Brett, if you run it for 90 days, then after that 90 days, you're going to reassess and you're going to move the next 3. And you're going to reassess, Daniel, you're going to move the next 3. And before you know it, over a year's time, you've moved 12 items. And when I first heard that from my coach, back when I had my first business 25 years ago, I'm like, you've lost your ever-loving mind, dude. It ain't going to help. I can tell you now 7 companies, 7, 8, 9-figure exits later, where we've taken companies and doubled the enterprise value, doubled the revenue as little as 18 months. It helps. It helps so much that there's a really cool book out there written by James Clear called Atomic Habits. And all he literally talks about in the whole book is how to move little monumental moves of a company. But we don't think that way as business owners. So what we do in our coaching program is say, here's where your value is today. You want to double the value in 18 to 36 months. If you want to do that, here are the exact steps you have to take in a very simple format.
Okay, let's break that down a little bit more. So, so I go, okay, these are my 3 areas. It's the pro forma for my numbers. It's the marketing plan, and it's launching the best-selling book. Let's put it those 3, right? What specifically are you doing for the calendar for the entrepreneur to make sure they're time appropriate? Is there the ideal weekly setup? Is there this amount that you need to, and then really, and the other side of it, probably more Justin, like, what are you saying no to? Like, you've got to right now say no to all of this. It's really more saying no than saying yes, maybe. Walk us through how you're helping people with that.
Yeah, so we wouldn't be able to do all 3 of those actions simultaneously within 90 days. That's too much work. Okay, so let's take it a step back and let's just say that we're going to build a universal marketing plan. Mm-hmm. The actions we're going to take is we're going to have a once-a-year strategic planning meeting with our entire team or with your business coach, whoever it may be. You're going to do the assessment and see the weaknesses, and you're going to use software. We use it on a regular basis to quantify why, if we put a marketing plan in place, what exactly is it going to yield for us in terms of enterprise value lift or in terms of income lift. We can get that exact number through software and through technology. Once we have that data point, then we're going to break that down into 3 specific objectives. We're going to do a marketing plan. We're going to recreate the website. We're going to customize our avatar. 3 specific things. For each specific action, we're going to have 3 specific tactics. How? We talked about the what, but how specifically are we going to do this? Well, for a website, for those of you who've ever done a website before, you have to have images, you have to have videos, you have to have text, you have to have back-end coding, you have to have all these things. Those are the how, those are the tactics. For each tactic, you're going to have 3 action steps at who is going to do what by when. Okay, so what we're going to transpire is over a 90-day period, we're going to have 27 specific action items that are built on top of each other, where you have either outside vendors, your team, or yourself is working holistically in the nitty-gritty. So the action step is singular in nature. For example, Brett, you're going to confirm the avatar is completed by February the 27th and let Susie know that it's completed. That is an action step. Now, in that action step, there's a lot of granulation there. Okay, and this is where several in the small business world lose us. Even some of the big popular names, like my buddy Gino Wickman in Traction. It's got a lot of good stuff, but it doesn't get granular enough for us to let go. So we as business owners, we don't want more job. We don't want to spend more plates. We want to get that out to our team. So now that we outlay the 27 action items, Then here's where the rubber meets the road. Every week on Monday, you're going to have a CEO briefing with your team. Here's specifically what has to be done this week. Any questions, how may I facilitate it, and then you walk away. Now you're training your team how to do that. It takes some time, but we teach our coaching clients that the first 90 days, your team is running this thing forward for you, not you personally. So every week you're going to have an action item on Monday. On Friday, you're going to do a recap and have your team submit to you what transpired that week. Are they behind schedule? Are they in front of schedule? Okay, that's on a Friday. Every month, you're going to compare were you able to complete that 30-day objective that you had in that 30-day time period. Every 90 days, you're going to look at it. If I design a strategy plan for our clients that they're not going to get all the action items nailed down, it's just not going to happen. But if we get 80% of them, man, I'm happy. So now after that 90-day period, we reassess, we see what the weaknesses are, we buck on the things that we didn't get knocked out in the first 90 days, and we retool and we go again. So we call them 90-day sprints, but they have a lot of specificity to it, a lot of specificity.
Amazing. Daniel, what Justin just said, what do you want to double click on, or what questions do you have for Justin?
Yeah, it seems like every single thing that you mentioned, there's a specific date and a cadence of beginning of the week, end of month, and just it seems like that specificity is really important for your team to have those hard deadlines so that way stuff is really moving forward by the 90 days. Is that a part of the reason behind that? So it's really clear?
It is for clarity purposes because oftentimes business owners, we're a high D if you're looking at the DISC model. We're high D visionaries and we're not in the weeds and the details, but we have team members who are. So you got to get specific for them to understand what exactly you want. That's number one. Number two, the more important reason is because it limits our shiny object abilities. If we get super clear and we know exactly what our team's going to do, then we can step back and work in our zone of genius and focus on the things that we can do without bringing up new ideas or new inspirations, okay? The third reason why we get that clear is because it's a measuring stick on is our team moving properly to where they want to be, to where we need them to be. It's an accountability metric. So we actually write about this in great detail in all of our work and all of our books and everything. If you bring it to this level of detail, you literally can predict what your company value, revenue, everything is going to be within 18 months, 36 months. So much so. I'll give you this behind the scenes. When I sold my fourth company, my coach was teaching me how to do this, and we built a pro forma. 5 years later, when I sold the company, I had a dated pro forma. We went to the sellers, the buyers, and we said, here's our pro forma. Our NOI was $33,000 above what we projected it to be 5 years earlier. It was that precise. That level of precision put another 7 figures in my pocket. So if we're trying to get to Decamillionaire status so that we can maintain our same lifestyle for the rest of our lives, we have got to get super specific, not so much like to fortune tell the future, but to put all of our thought patterns around this 90-day sprints to know here is why specifically we're taking these actions and here are the outcomes that we hope to come from these actions if we take them. That's the importance of specificity.
It seems like that really drives not just income for the business, but enterprise value, which is what you're after.
I'm after enterprise value because as business owners, that's what allows us to reach Decamillionaire status. I've yet to meet a business owner out of the masses. There are some exceptions, but out of the masses, I've yet to meet a business owner who amasses a $10 million net worth by just taking the income out of the business. Now let's talk about why that's important. Here's your mic drop moment, friends. Pull the car off the side of the road. Here it is. Most of us as business owners, we try to work to get $250,000 a year in net income. That's the average number for us in the small business world. If we can pay ourselves $20,000 a month, great. The problem is that we have really good tax advisors. And they teach us that, hey, you can run your vehicle through the business, and you run your insurance through the business, you pay your kids out of the business, and you can take your vacations because that's CE and all these other things out of the business. And we reach this point where we're paying ourselves $20,000 a month in theory, plus we're living another 100, 150, 200,000 vicariously through the business. So now when we go to sell the company, if we've never thought about enterprise value, we've got a company that we sell for $3 or $4 or $5 or $6 or $7 million, pay taxes on it, get some good smart experts to come in here and help us not avoid the capital gains tax, hint, hint. And then whenever that transpires, now we're living on peanuts. If we can get to a $10 million valuation, what we're going to do is we're going to have smart people teach us how not to pay taxes on it, on capital gains taxes, right? We're going to get smart people to help us on that. But now if we invest more conservatively at 5, 6, 7%, we're making the same amount of money in income that we would have made beforehand. What we don't realize as small business owners is that the gameplay is not in the income. The income is not the play, friends. It is the capital gains tax that we're going to avoid with Brett's teams and y'all's work. It is the capital gains. If we can reach a point to where we live vicariously, so my wife and I, we've always lived below our means. Right now, my investments pay me 4 times what my income ever paid me because of good planning. That's where Decamillionaire status comes from. But if we focus it on the income, we'll never reach Decamillionaire status.
By the way, people want to learn more about what Mr. Justin Goodbread is talking about. I was on his podcast here in the last month or so, and he's talking about building a capital gains tax exit plan for exiting Bitcoin, businesses, real estate. You have millions of gains. You're selling a $10 million business. You're going to pay $2, $3, $4, $5 million of tax. We build a plan to be able to defer that tax and compound and multiply that wealth on that next business venture, or just diversify and then just live off passive, what we call truly passive income, where it's 30, 40, 50, 60,000 a month coming in passively that you don't have to change your time, your talents, your treasure for. Love all of this, Mr. Justin Goodbread, and good questions, Daniel, so far. I want you to give me, if you can, please, for us quickly, this Monday, Friday, right? And I imagine you show up and boom, it's like a dashboard, and what's the big win, what's the big loss, what's the big roadblock, and then you hit your number. Give us just a little flavor of that for the operational side of leadership, and then the Friday, right, kind of cadence. How long is the meeting? How many direct reports are coming at you, right, and who's in that meeting, who's not in that meeting, and just give us that real tactical Monday, Friday.
Yeah, so in order to get it tactical, Brett, we got to talk about the business size just to kind of lay the ground rules here. So for most businesses under $10 million in EBITDA, you can pull this off, okay? The CEO comes in on Mondays. I typically teach our clients. I do this myself. We did it today. I'm recording this on a Monday with you guys. A CEO walks into the executive team or the employees, depending on the size of the company. And they lay out, hey, here is what's in our 90-day sprint that's calendared for this particular week. Here's what we won on last week. Here's what we need to accomplish this week. Here's the power statement that is made by the CEO in this meeting is this. Brett, now that you see what you have in front of you, what do you need me to do for you to succeed this week? What are you missing? What's going to prevent you from accomplishing these goals? My job, Brett, is to make sure you're resourced properly for you to hit these goals that you have on your plate this week. What that does is it allows the CEO to get rid of the time constraints throughout this week, the coming to me and begging me for additional information, the excuses are going to happen on Friday. It puts the team in a position where they have to acknowledge they have everything they need to do to get their job done this week. That's the power play on Monday. Now, whenever you drop it off, here's the second power play on Monday. If you have a team, an executive team or an employee team, you're probably going to have less than 10 direct reports. Depending on the size of the company, you're probably going to have less than 10. The power play is on that Monday for you to have a private conversation with each of those 10 reports and say, Brett, how may I serve you this week? You may not have mentioned something inside the meeting. You've had a few hours to think about it. How may I serve you this week? That statement does not mean I'm going to work for you as the CEO to the employee. Instead, what they're saying is you're saying, I'm going to resource you with whatever you need for you to reach your goals this week. Now's the time. If you put that into practice on a Monday, then you can go on about your week Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. You can do whatever you need to do, whether that's client-facing, customer-facing, or even executive level. Doesn't matter. Friday's going to come around now, and you set your team up where they self-report to you on Friday I like to have it by 11 o'clock that morning. What has been done? They can do it through an email. They can do it through a video if they like video, through an audio message. I don't care. Self-report it to me. Tell me what you got done. If you didn't accomplish it all, fine. Let me know why. Okay, I'm not here to beat you over the head like a whack-a-mole here. I want you to give me these data points. I'm not having a conversation with any of my team on Friday. They're just reporting to me. I'm going to go shoot my guns and play with my kids on Fridays, right? And go be a dad. Now, Monday comes around. Here's what you guys said. We repeat the cycle. Okay, that's how granular you want to be. But if you use those words correctly, my buddy John Maxwell, he uses this in servant leadership in his 21 Irrefutable Laws of Leadership. Those words are basically modeling what I believe Jesus Christ did, where he says, hey, let me show you a way. Now let me support you on this journey. What do you need?
Amazing. So I absolutely love that. That's so helpful. Go ahead, Dan. You had a question or thought on that? Yeah.
Yeah. So it sounds like you're doing the team meeting with everyone at once, and then with the how may I serve you, is that a separate one-on-one? Is that just like a Slack or a DM or a text? Like, what is that? Is that really short, or is it face-to-face via video call, in-person meeting, what have you?
Yeah, so the morning meeting is typically a team meeting, depending on the size of the company, with all employees or all executives or all leaders, whoever they may be within your company. And then the follow-up meeting, give them a couple hours, let them absorb the information. They're going to think about something. Oh, I forgot about this in that meeting. Now you're going to come back to them and you're going to have a physical eye-to-eye conversation with them, and you're going to look at them. Now, the reason why I think that's so powerful is because it gives you a chance to be a servant leader, to disciple them on what they need. You get to hear what's causing them problems. You get to hear what's happening in their family this weekend that maybe they didn't sleep on. You get to hear their struggles. You get to hear through their tone what is not going to happen that particular week. So it's vital for you to have your hands into the people that are moving the company. So it's a face-to-face time period. It doesn't have to be 5 minutes sometimes. Other times, maybe they just lost a loved one. You need to just stop and you need to spend an hour with them, just loving on them, helping them through this time period. That's the power of that particular follow-up, Daniel, and it works. It works on all levels in all businesses. We've seen it work in companies that went from mid-8 figures to 9-figure valuations, all the way to those who just have one employee. It works.
Very, very amazing. Let's keep moving with time here. Number 4. So we just talked about execution, right? Relentless execution. What's number 4 of number 5?
Number 4 is exit. Relentless exit. You're going to have to leave your company one day. Either through death, disability, divorce, something's going to happen. You're going to die. See Jesus, hopefully. You're not going to take this company with you. The minute you start thinking about the exit, you're going to look at this business as that of a steward versus that of an owner. If you look at the business that I'm stewarding this for my children, the next buyer, the next person out there, it totally reframes the way in which you do the execution mode, right? So when we get to number 4, for the Decamillionaire journey to happen, oftentimes business owners are not going to close that, what we call wealth gap, until they actually have a liquidity event. So we need to start preparing this business for an exit at least 5 years ahead of time, just because of the way the tax code reads right now, for another reason. At least 5 years, okay? Well, maybe I don't have that much time. Okay, then as soon as possible, start preparing the business for transition. Start preparing for who's the best buyer. Here's why. We often talk about in business that we serve our client. I'm gonna call them customers. Those are the people who want to give us their money in exchange for our services. The reality is we're building our business for one person or one institution. That is our true client. The true client is the person who's going to walk in one day, look at this thing that you built, hopefully it's beautiful, and they're going to hand over their hard-earned cash so that they can give you money for your business. That is the client. That's who you're building your business for. So whenever we put set number 4 around relentless exit, it's all about a framework in order to say, here's where we're going. Let's take it out of business for a second and try to nail this and drive this point home. No doubt, everybody's listening to me, we want to go on a vacation, probably this year, 2026. Wouldn't it be amazing, or would it be ridiculous if I said, I'm going to go on vacation, and then I get in the car, go load all my suitcases up, and I don't have a destination where I'm going? That makes no sense. How do I know if I'm going to the beach or going to the mountains or going to, it doesn't make sense to me. That's what we do as business owners every single day. We start our business and then we get caught up in the grind. And all of a sudden we wake up and we're 65 or 150 years old and we're like, oh my goodness, I'm sick. Or oh my goodness, Fred Flintstone down the road wants to sell their business. They got $100 million for the company. I can sell mine. It doesn't work that way. You need to know where you're going. The exit becomes with a number. It becomes with something internally that's going to align with that relentless foundation when laid way back when. They got to come together. So number 4 is relentless exit.
Amazing. For sake of time, number 5.
Number 5 is relentless freedom. Relentless freedom. Mm-hmm. When you have all the money in the world, whenever I sold my company, I had a guy by the name of Tom Deans, who's a great author, public speaker. He said, Justin, think about this. You have time and money. You're young. I'm under the age of 50 right now. Got more money than I'm going to spend. I'm not bragging, friends. I'm just being honest about authentic here. If you have a time and money, freedom is no longer about having to adhere to any particular client or any particular law or anything else of that nature. What do you truly want to do, and who can you serve? Who can you impact? How could you help your family, your friends, your charities, your communities, whatever your causes are? That's where relentless freedom comes into play.
Amazing. Daniel, what questions do you have for Justin before we go to lightning round?
I think when you talked about the 5 years of planning for someone who's earlier in their journey with a service-based business, how do you help them to like I know you had talked about, it seems like maybe the first step is removing yourself as that bottleneck of that merry-go-round. But how would you coach someone or help them who's earlier on that journey going, I know I want to exit within the next 3 to 5 years. but I haven't nailed down a number. I haven't really thought about that from an enterprise value standpoint. How would you coach someone through
So
that?
that's where the relentless foundation comes into play. Long before you get rid to the exit, that's why they have to align. Oftentimes what I hear, Daniel, is business owners will say, when I get X number of dollars that I can have an income per year, that I don't have to work, that I can provide this, I want to take 100, I'm just making some stupid numbers up just for illustration purposes. I want to spend $100,000 years on hunting trips. I want to be able to spoil my kids, send them to college. I want to have a paid for house, whatever the data point is. There's the money side of things. The opposite side is I don't want to ever have to worry about money ever again. Or mine and my wife's was, we want to be able to give a specific number, high number, to charities every year out of our surplus. That was our number. That we had something that we want to do that was over and above income. See, oftentimes we think about incomes because we often don't have it in the early days of our business. But when we take a step back and wonder, and we discover why God truly put us here on earth for, that one thing that we can dynamically change that the other 8.2 billion people in the world can't do, when we can identify that in the foundation, what it does is it gives us a clear roadmap to which we can measure where we're at on this journey. And so it doesn't necessarily have to be a number, Daniel. What I would bring us back to is, why are you in business? If you had unlimited time and unlimited resource, if you just won the lottery tomorrow and you knew you weren't going to die, what would you do? If you can get that level of clarity, which is why we spend a lot of time on Relentless Foundation, now the math will line up. And here's the trick. Brett, I've never done that. We got stupid clear on what somebody wants to accomplish, that they didn't blow past their own timetable. They may say it's going to take me 10 years. They can often accomplish it in 3 or 4. Why? Because with laser focus brings laser intensity and laser results every single time.
Amazing. Great question, Daniel, to Justin. And let's wrap it up with the lightning round right now. Justin, if you go back to your 20-year-old self, what's the one golden nugget to make sure to tell yourself to do?
Be relentless. Get clear on where I want to go and don't stop.
Love it. Question number 2, what are you most curious about right now?
AI.
Question number 3, how are you best using AI today? What's your kind of your go-to?
We have 5 employees who are building agents and vector files and various things that allows us to build our complete coaching business out so we can build processes for our clients to rapidly excel that doesn't allow me to have to teach them one-on-one. A lot of information. We got about $1 million invested in it so far. It's a lot of fun. My go-to is, it depends on what I'm doing. I like writing music. I like Sono. I like Claude for programming. I like ChatGPT for doing some research. I like Grok to argue with because he pisses me off on a regular basis. I like to argue with Grok. Just depends on what I'm going to do.
Love it. Question number, I think 3 at this point. Number 1 leadership quote or theme that you strive to live by. Maybe 4.
So Henry Ford made this statement, at least that's what at least we akin it to him, is if you think you can or think you can't, you're right.
Excellent. Question, last question, actually. We'll just wrap it up because we're out of time. After all your success, Justin, helping all the people you help become decamillionaires, build businesses, make impact, get more freedom, how do you best stay centered in your values, stay ultra disciplined, and also practice a mindset of stewardship over ownership?
I believe one day when I enter heaven, I'm going to meet Jesus and God, and there's going to be a version of myself that I will see that reflects if I was living my life with 100% faith. I'm going to see that journey. I'm going to see that person. What keeps me motivated and centered is knowing that every single day I have an opportunity to exercise faith more and more and more, hoping that whenever I get to heaven one day, I'll hear those famous words, "Well done, thy good and faithful servant."
Praise God and amen and amen. Justin Goodbread, I want to thank you for being on the show, sharing your wisdom, your insights. Man, I felt like it was like a masterclass in the last 38 minutes of how to build a business, the 5 steps to become the Decamillionaire Way. Everyone look for the Decamillionaire Way book that's coming out soon. Make sure you go to justingoodbread.com. And Justin, for our listeners, besides those 2 things, any other best way to connect with you?
Man, I love connecting on Instagram. You get to see a man who's been significantly blessed and living a life of freedom as a business owner. You too can have this. If a country boy born and raised on dirt road can live the life I have, Daniel, Brett, everybody can do this. I'm not that smart, man. I just love Jesus and having a blast.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Justin. Thank you, Daniel, for also co-hosting with me today. And thank you to the listener and our viewer who's watching the Build It to Billions podcast. We're also streaming on Capital Gains Tax Solutions podcast and YouTube channels. And we're on this journey with you to scale from millions to billions so we can get more all the way to help MVPs, the most vulnerable people. I'm Brett Swarts. He's Daniel Barnes. And that was Justin Goodbread, everybody. Make sure you connect with him. And of course, if you have a massive exit coming up, I'm talking multiple $1 million of gains, and you want to build a capital gains tax exit plan, we wrote a book on it, Building a Capital Gains Tax Exit Plan. And we're here to help you. You can go to capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. That's capitalgainstaxsolutions.com. And I appreciate everyone listening or watching out here. And we'll talk to you all again real soon. Bye now.
You have just listened to another information-packed episode of Capital Gains Tax Solutions with Brett Swarts. We hope you enjoyed today's show and found it helpful. Visit capitalgainstaxsolutions.com to access the show notes and to access more resources. Don't forget to leave a review and join us again next time.